Sentinel-9 floated at the edge of Council space like a silent metal giant, watching the darkness with cold patience. The station was old, patched many times, and held together by the skill of human engineers rather than fancy Council designs. Every day felt the same, quiet, routine, predictable. But on this day, nothing was routine. Officer Mira Dalton sat at her console, eyes half closed, listening to the soft hum of the station. She tapped her pen against the desk, waiting for her shift to end. Then a strange flicker appeared on her screen. A spike. Sharp. Short. Wrong. She frowned. Strange. That looks like a railgun signature. Mira zoomed in. The reading grew clearer. It was a railgun trail, thin, blue, sharp, unmistakable. But the shot was not coming from a ship, or a station, or anything they could identify. It came from empty space. She checked the sensors again. The signature repeated. Another railgun shot. Then another. And another. All from the same direction. Deep space. Beyond any known territory. Her heartbeat picked up. Who's firing railguns out there? There's nothing on record. Nothing at all. She called her commander. Within minutes, the control room filled with officers and technicians. Commander Hale leaned over her shoulder. You sure this isn't a glitch? Mira shook her head. No, sir. 3 different sensors caught it. Railgun fire coming from a point with no ships. A cold shiver passed through the room. Council ships did not use railguns. Only humans did. Hale narrowed his eyes. Send the data to the Council immediately. They waited for the Council to respond. It took only 10 minutes, but it felt like hours. When the reply finally came, it annoyed everyone on Sentinel-9. The report is exaggerated. A likely human error. Stand down. Mira clenched her teeth. Human error? They didn't even check the source. The Council rarely trusted humans, even though humans formed a large part of the defense force. Mira always felt they treated humans like children who needed supervision. But the sensors did not care about politics. And the sensors were screaming. Another alarm blared. New reading, the technician shouted. Object incoming. Railgun slug, fast, very fast. Source. Hale demanded. The technician swallowed. Same place. From the darkness. The railgun slug raced toward them, but instead of hitting the station, it passed by. Then something impossible happened. The slug changed direction. It curved gently, as if guided by an invisible hand, and turned toward the distant Council homeworld. Myra's voice cracked. Railgun rounds do not turn. That's impossible. The control room fell into silent fear. Commander Hale whispered, This is not an attack. This is a signal. The slug slowed as it traveled. It wasn't meant to kill. It was meant to deliver something. Track it, Hale ordered. Minutes later, the sensors confirmed that the slug had stopped just outside the Council capital. It floated there like a warning sign. Then a strange pulse spread across the network. A message. Encrypted. Old. Not human. Not Council. Mira stared at the decoded text as it appeared on her screen. You are not alone. You are not prepared. The letters flickered with cold certainty. Technicians whispered among themselves. Officers exchanged worried looks. No one spoke loudly. No one dared. Who sent this? Someone finally asked. No one answered. Because no one knew. Commander Hale turned to Mira. Did you send all the data? Yes, sir. Then expect another message from the Council. They got one. Faster than expected. The Council's voice echoed in the control room. Sentinel-9. This is a false alarm. Railgun data is corrupted. The message is likely a prank or old transmission. Maintain regular operations. A prank? Old transmission? Mira slammed her hand on the console. Why won't they listen? Something fired that slug today. We all saw it. Hale paced the room. The Council hates panic. They always hide things until they can no longer hide them. Another officer pointed at the screen. Sir, the slug is doing something. The message began to flash. Slow. Then faster. then extremely fast. Mira felt her stomach tighten. "It's forming a countdown," she whispered. Numbers raced downward. 120, 119, 118. The entire station tensed. No one breathed. Commander Hale finally spoke. "Everyone, stand ready. Open emergency channels. And record everything. We need proof." The countdown ticked on, steady like a heartbeat. 90, 89, 88. Every part of the station fell silent. Even the engines seemed quieter. The darkness outside the windows looked deeper than before, as if something in that darkness was watching them. 60, 59, 58. Mira wiped sweat from her forehead. What happens when it hits zero? No one answered. No one knew. 30, 29, 28. The railgun slug glowed faintly, like a star turning red. 10, 9, 8. Myra's chair shook. The glass screens flickered. 3, 2, 1. The railgun slug burst into a blinding pulse of white light, and a deep metallic voice echoed through the station speakers. "They have returned." The light vanished. The slug vanished. And the signal cut out. Mira stared into the darkness of space. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Something out there knows us." The warning had been given. And it was only the beginning. The message from the railgun slug echoed in every corner of Sentinel, 9 long after the light vanished. "They have returned." No one on the station understood the voice, but everyone felt its weight. It sounded ancient, heavy, like something that had seen 1,000 battles. Something that knew the Council, and hated them. For a full minute, the control room remained frozen. Commander Hale was the first to move. "Send everything to the Council again," he ordered. "All recordings. Every sensor reading. They can't ignore this." Mira Dalton transferred the data with shaking fingers. But deep inside, she already knew what the Council would do. They would deny. They always denied. The reply came faster than expected. Too fast. As if they were ready for the message before Sentinel-9 even sent it. The Council speaker appeared as a hologram, tall and composed, wrapped in the shining robes of leadership. Her calm expression made Myra's stomach twist. "Sentinel-9, the speaker said, voice smooth as glass. "You are ordered to stand down. This event is classified." Commander Hale frowned. "Classified? We just witnessed a dimensional pulse. Someone fired a railgun message at your own capital." The speaker raised a hand. "We are aware." Those 3 words shocked the entire control room. Mira whispered, "Aware?" "They knew." Commander Hale's voice hardened. "Then why did you tell us the message was fake?" The speaker's tone turned cold. "Because panic helps no one. This matter is an internal Council issue. Humans are not cleared for this information." Mira felt anger rise like fire. Humans not cleared? Sentinel-9 had detected the threat. Humans were on the border. Humans protected the outer line. And the Council still treated them like background workers. Hale stepped forward. "With respect, Speaker, we can't fight what we don't understand." The hologram flickered as the speaker leaned closer. "And with respect, Commander, that is exactly why you will stay out of it." Then the transmission ended. No explanation. No warning. Nothing. The control room erupted with frustrated voices. "They're hiding something big. Really big. They knew this enemy before. Why did they erase records? Why lie to us?" Mira didn't join the argument. She stared at the dark screen where the speaker had stood. Her mind raced with questions that scared her more than the countdown. What enemy did the Council fear? What history had they buried? What was returning? Commander Hale silenced the room. "Everyone, listen. The Council wants silence. That means they don't know how to handle this." He turned to Mira. "Run a full background scan on that message voice." She nodded and began searching through old databanks, old recordings, old files. But most of the data was locked behind Council security. Mira hit a wall again and again. "Sir, they marked everything about this event as restricted." Hale sighed. "As expected. A young officer standing near the back spoke nervously. Then what do we do? No one had an answer. But suddenly, the alarms blared again. Unknown transmission, the technician shouted. Encrypted. Council origin. Everyone turned as the holographic screen lit up. A secret recording began to play. The picture was blurry, as if someone recorded it without permission. The camera shook. It showed a council chamber. Small, hidden, not the grand one used for public speeches. A group of high-ranking council leaders stood around a round table. Their faces were pale. One of them spoke in a trembling voice. The old enemy has found us again. Myra's breath caught. Another leader said, We covered our tracks. We destroyed the records. We evacuated the outer systems. A third slammed his fist on the table. You think erasing history erases the enemy? They survived the purge. They always survive. The first leader whispered, If the humans learn the truth, they will not forgive us. The recording cut out suddenly. Silence fell across Sentinel-9. This time, a colder silence than before. A silence filled with betrayal. Mira spoke first. So they knew. They fought this enemy before. And they hid everything from us. Commander Hale's face hardened with anger he rarely showed. They let us patrol the border without telling us what was coming. The technician looked terrified. What enemy can scare the council this much? Hale turned slowly toward the starfield outside the window. Something that defeated them before. Before anyone could respond, the emergency channel flashed red again. Another message from the railgun origin point. Same direction. Same unknown sender. The new message wasn't a warning. It was a command. 4 words appeared on the screen. Prepare for impact soon. Mira felt her throat tighten. Impact? Impact of what? Commander Hale stared at the message with grim understanding. The first railgun message. That was a warning shot. He turned toward the crew. And whatever is coming next won't be a warning. The room tensed. Sir, Mira said quietly, we need to alert every human ship. We will, Hale replied, before the council shuts the lines. The lights dimmed. The air seemed heavy. Outside the window, the stars looked too still, too calm, like they were waiting. Mira felt it deep inside her chest. Something was moving in the darkness. Something older than the council. Something the council had feared enough to erase from history. Something that fired a railgun through empty space just to get their attention. The enemy had returned. And whatever came next would shake the entire galaxy. The warning message hung in the air like a ghost. Prepare for impact soon. No one on Sentinel-9 spoke for several seconds. Every officer, every technician, even Commander Hale felt the weight of those 4 words pressing against their chest. Impact of what? From where? And how soon? Mira Dalton stared at the cold stars outside the window. They looked normal. Too normal. As if the universe was holding its breath. Run long-range scans, Hale ordered. Myra's hands moved fast over the controls. The station sensors reached deep into the void. The results came back almost instantly. Nothing, sir. Empty space. No ships, no debris, no signals. The technician next to her added, Even the railgun origin point looks quiet, like nothing was ever there. Hale didn't like that answer. Threats don't vanish. Keep scanning. But before the scans could finish, a strange vibration rolled through the station. Soft at first. A low hum. Then the lights flickered. Power fluctuation, someone called out. Mira checked her screen, but the readings weren't normal. They were broken. Lines spiked in directions that made no sense. Sir, this is not a system fault, she whispered. Something is bending space around us. The vibration grew stronger, turning into a deep rumbling noise that everyone felt in their bones. The windows of the station showed ripples, waves of distortion, passing through the darkness like invisible tides. What is that? One officer yelled. No one answered. Because at that moment, a sharp crack echoed across the station, like glass breaking, but there was no glass. A tear appeared in space outside the station. Not a wormhole. Not a jump gate. A teleport rupture. The space around it glowed white, then purple, then bright blue. The colors twisted like liquid metal. Commander Hale's eyes widened. That's impossible. Nothing this big should teleport like that. Mira felt a cold chill spread through her entire body. Something arrived. Not slowly, not gradually, but instantly, like dropping a rock into water. A massive shockwave burst outward. The station shook violently. Consoles sparked. Screens went black for 3 seconds. Officers fell to the ground. Mira held onto her chair as everything around her rattled. "Report!" Hale shouted. The technician's voice stumbled. "We just lost contact with the entire eastern sector. 3 outposts went dark at the same time." "What hit them?" I don't know. It happened the moment the teleport rupture formed." Another shockwave followed. Heavier, faster, louder. The lights cut out again. Mira managed to pull up a damaged sensor reading. What she saw made her chest tighten. "Sir, 3 council fleets just vanished." The room went silent. "Vanished how?" Hale asked slowly. Mira zoomed in. Her voice cracked. "They didn't explode. They didn't retreat. They didn't scatter. They just disappeared. All at once. Same second." Someone whispered, terrified, "Teleport shockwave. It destroys everything inside it." Then another rupture appeared. This one even closer. Space tore open like a wound. Bright blue energy spiraled outward, forming a circular field that looked alive, breathing, growing. Inside the rupture, dark shapes appeared. Smooth, metallic, sharp, and moving without engines. Mira recognized them even though she had never seen them before. "Vectors," she whispered. "The ancient enemy. The ones the council feared. The ones erased from history." They moved like shadows. Silent, fast, merciless. Their bodies were long, thin, and shaped like blades floating through space. And every few seconds, they flickered, teleporting short distances, each flicker ending with a blast of destructive force. Commander Hale's voice trembled for the first time. "So it's true. They survived." A vector glowed with blue energy and then teleported forward. The shockwave hit Sentinel 9 hard. Panels ripped from the walls. Lights blew out in bursts. Alarms screamed. Mira covered her head as sparks rained onto the floor. "Shields at 37%, the technician yelled. "We can't take another hit." Another vector appeared. This one bigger, glowing brighter, like a commander. It prepared to teleport. Mira shouted, "They're going to destroy us." Hale slammed his fist onto the emergency command button. "All batteries fire at will." Sentinel 9's railguns roared to life, firing round after round into the enemy. The shots flew true, but passed right through the vectors as if they were ghosts. "They're phasing between space." Mira gasped. The vector flickered. The station shook. Sparks exploded from every console. "Shields down. Backup power failing. We can't hold." Mira felt pure fear. Not panic. Not shock. Fear. The kind that whispers in the back of your mind that you are witnessing something unstoppable. The vector positioned itself directly in front of the station. Its entire body lit up, blinding blue. It was going to teleport again. Mira whispered, "This is it." But suddenly, the vector stopped glowing. The light around it dimmed. Its body shuddered. A new signal hit the station. Loud, sharp, powerful. A message from deep space. Not from the Council. Not from Sentinel 9. But from the same unknown sender that fired the railgun. 4 new words appeared on every screen. "Earth must act now." Then the vector charged up again, and the room filled with blinding blue light. The real war had begun. The blue light from the vector's teleport charge flooded the entire control room. Mira covered her eyes. The glow felt like it burned straight into her skull. Panels shook. Electricity snapped across the ceiling. The air vibrated with crushing pressure. Then, suddenly, the light collapsed. Not faded. Collapsed, like someone pulled it inward. The vector twisted violently and broke apart into fragments of dark metal. No explosion. No fire. Just silence. Sentinel-9 stopped shaking. Mira lifted her head, breath shaking. What just happened? Commander Hale scanned the debris. It looked like something interrupted its teleport. But what could interrupt a vector teleport? They were unstoppable. The Council had said so themselves. Well before they started lying. The mysterious message still glowed on the main screen. Earth must act now. Hale stared at it with a mix of disbelief and fear. Whoever sent that saved us. Sir, Mira said quietly, Earth Base Command is requesting a direct line. Hale hesitated. Put them on. The screen flickered, and a stern face appeared. Admiral Rourke, head of Earth Defense Command. His voice was deep and steady, but even through the static Mira heard urgency. Sentinel-9, listen carefully, Rourke said. You are now under direct human command. The Council has lost control of half their territory. Their fleets are gone. Communications are collapsing everywhere. Hale folded his arms. We've already seen the vectors, Admiral. They're wiping systems clean. Rourke nodded grimly. Yes. And the Council hid the truth from everyone, even from humans. But Earth has been preparing for this day for 80 years. Mira frowned. Sir, preparing how? The Admiral leaned closer to the camera. We built something. A weapon. Something the Council never knew about. Hale's eyes narrowed. Are you talking about Project Hyper? Do not speak the name aloud, Rourke snapped. Not on an open channel. The room fell silent. Rourke continued. You are being rerouted to join a classified task force. 2 human destroyers are already en route to escort you. Mira checked her sensors. I see no ships, sir. Look again in 3, 2, 1. 2 massive human destroyers blinked into existence outside Sentinel-9. No jump flash. No warp trail. They just appeared. Myra's jaw dropped. Those ships didn't jump, didn't warp, didn't travel normally. Rourke's voice lowered. That's our secret. Humans developed short-range phase jump tech 2 decades ago. It's unstable, too dangerous for the Council to approve, so we hid it. Hale exhaled sharply. No wonder the Council wanted us monitored. Rourke leaned back. They didn't want us to surpass them. But that doesn't matter anymore. We now believe humanity is the only species capable of stopping the vectors. Why us? Mira asked. The Admiral paused, then answered with something she never expected. Because humans are the only ones who understand railguns and phase jump distortion, and that enemy operates using both. A chill ran up Myra's spine. So what is Project Hyperrail? Hale asked quietly. Rourke finally said the words he had held back. A weapon that fires between dimensions. A railgun that shoots into a teleport wave while it forms. Mira blinked. But hitting a teleport wave is impossible. It forms in microseconds. Rourke nodded. That's why no one has ever tried it. But if we hit the vector teleport at the right moment, we can disrupt their entire network. Hale understood the danger first. And if the shot misses? Rourke's face turned stone hard. Then the shock could tear open space itself. It could destroy our fleet. Or worse. A heavy silence spread across the room. Mira swallowed hard. Sir, who will fire the weapon? Rourke stared directly at her. You will. Mira froze. Me. You detected the first railgun signatures faster than most officers could, Rourke replied. Your instinct is sharp. Your timing is perfect. We need someone who can react before sensors catch up. You will serve on the Hyperrail array ship. Mira tried to steady her voice. Sir, I won't fail. Rourke nodded once. Prepare to transfer. And be warned, this mission will not be easy. The vectors are gathering near the rift line. Once they open a major teleport gate, the entire Council core will fall. The hologram faded. For a moment, no one on Sentinel-9 spoke. Then Hale placed a hand on Myra's shoulder. This is bigger than anything we've faced. But you're ready. A sudden alarm blared. Mira spun around. Sir. New rupture forming, 30,000 kilometers away. On the main screen, space tore open again. Larger this time. Brighter. Angrier. From inside the rupture, dozens of dark vector shapes emerged. Sharp, silent, deadly, each one glowing with teleport energy. They arranged themselves in a perfect formation. Not random. Not chaotic. Like soldiers lining up before a final attack. Mira whispered. They know we're preparing something. Hale's voice hardened. Then we act fast. The two human destroyers powered up their weapons. Sentinel-9's alarms screamed. Vector bodies pulsed with rising blue light. Mira checked her transfer order again. She was expected on the hyperrail ship in 15 minutes. 15 minutes before the largest vector fleet ever seen would strike. She tightened her gloves. Earth wanted her to fire a weapon that might save the galaxy. Or break it. Either way, there was no turning back. The vector fleet outside Sentinel-9 grew brighter and brighter, each of them pulsing with teleport energy, like blue hearts beating in the dark. Every few seconds, one of them flickered, testing the space around them, searching for the moment to strike. Mira Dalton stood in the docking bay with her small travel pack, heart pounding as she waited for the transfer shuttle. The engines roared, and the doors slid open. She stepped in quickly, and the shuttle detached from Sentinel-9, heading toward the massive human warship waiting nearby. The Hyperrail Array Vessel, HRA Valiant. Through the window, she watched Sentinel-9 shrink behind her. Smoke trailed from its torn metal panels, fires burned across its hull, and repair bots crawled over its surface. It had survived the last attack. But the next one? No one was sure. Inside the shuttle, Commander Hale's voice came through her comm. Mira, once you reach the Valiant, follow the engineers. They'll brief you on firing control. She nodded. Yes, sir. Any change in the vector fleet? Hale's reply was grim. They're gathering teleport energy at a level we've never seen. If they jump together, everything in their range will vanish. Mira closed her eyes. She could almost feel the enemy watching. The shuttle docked with the Valiant, and she stepped into a bright hallway that vibrated with power. The humming of the hyperrail array echoed through the ship like the heartbeat of a giant. A chief engineer greeted her, sweat on his brow. Good, you're here. Follow me. They rushed through metal corridors until they reached the firing chamber. A circular room filled with screens, cables, and a long transparent tube running along the ceiling. That tube, he said, pointing up, is the hyperrail barrel. It accelerates a slug faster than light at the moment a teleport wave forms. Mira stared at the data flowing across the screens. If I fire too early or too late, it won't matter, the engineer finished, because the vectors will rip this ship apart before we can fire again. She swallowed hard. He placed a hand on her shoulder. You were chosen for your timing. Trust that. Before she could respond, alarms erupted across the ship. All hands. Vector teleport buildup detected. The engineer pushed her toward the control seat. Sit. You're firing. Mira jumped into the chair. Screens lit up around her, showing the vector fleet outside forming a perfect circle. Energy swirled between them, creating a massive growing sphere of blue light. A teleport wave. But not a normal one. This one could erase an entire star system, including this one. The Valiant's captain spoke through the chamber speakers. Firing control, confirm target. Mira focused on the swirling blue mass. It expanded like a star being born. Target locked, she said quietly. Hyperrail primed. Static filled the chamber as the ship drained power from every source. Lights flickered. The deck vibrated like an earthquake. The countdown began. 5, 4, 3. Mira placed her hand on the firing panel. Her fingers trembled. 2. The teleport wave flashed, forming its core. 1, she whispered. She fired. The hyperrail array unleashed a blinding white slug that shot out of the Valiant faster than vision. The entire ship lurched backward from the force. For an instant, nothing happened. Then the slug hit the forming teleport wave. Light exploded. The shockwave that followed didn't just shake the Valiant. It shook the universe. The blast expanded outward in every direction, a massive white sphere that hit the Vector fleet first. Their bodies shattered like glass. Their teleport cores ruptured, collapsing into black cracks of nothingness. But the wave didn't stop there. It struck the nearby Council fleets. Their ships flickered, powered down, and vanished from sensors. The wave raced through hyperspace channels, breaking every communication link across Council territory. Entire planets went dark, cut off, isolated. On Sentinel-9, Commander Hale grabbed onto a console as everything shook violently. The shockwave, it's disabling the entire grid. Technicians screamed as data vanished from their screens. We've lost the Council capital. All outer colonies offline. No signals anywhere. Mira watched from the Valiant's window as the white sphere expanded until it filled the whole sky. For a moment, it felt like time itself had stopped. Then the sphere faded. The stars reappeared. But the damage was done. The Council was blind. Their fleets were gone. Their communication web, destroyed. And the Vector threat was not gone either. Mira checked her sensors. A new rupture appeared. Small, cold, angry. Captain, she whispered, we didn't destroy them all. The captain stared ahead. No, Dalton, we didn't. But we hurt them. The comm crackled, and Admiral Rourke's voice came through, distorted but clear enough. Valiant. The shot was successful. But the shockwave crippled the entire Council. They're blaming humans. Mira felt her heart sink. What does that mean for us? Rourke answered with a heavy breath. It means we are now alone. The chamber fell silent. The Vector survivors flickered again, closer now, glowing brighter than before. Their bodies pulsed with rage. The shockwave had weakened the Council. But it had awakened something even worse in the Vectors. Mira tightened her grip on the console. The real fight hadn't even started. The shockwave faded from the stars, leaving a strange quiet behind. Too quiet. A silence that felt heavy, unnatural. Like the universe was waiting for the next strike. Inside the Valiant, Mira Dalton stared at the screens as the debris of ruined ships drifted past. The Council fleets were gone. Their world had gone dark. Their entire network was broken. But something worse appeared where the shockwave had collided with the Vector teleport. A tear. A slit in space itself. A rift gate. It glowed an unnatural blue, spiraling like a storm frozen in time. Dark lightning arced across its edges. Something moved inside it. Shadows, shapes, signals too twisted to understand. Captain Reyes stepped beside Mira, jaw tight. That gate. It leads to their dimension. Mira felt her chest tighten. The Vector's home? More like the dimension where they were created, Reyes said. The one the Council tried to erase from history. The Admiral's voice crackled through the comm, weak but still commanding. Valiant, listen carefully. The rift gate is unstable. Soon, it will open fully. When it does, the Vectors will pour through in numbers we cannot fight. Reyes asked, Admiral, what are you suggesting? There was a long pause. You must send a team inside. Find the Vector core. Shut it down from within. Myra's breath caught. Inside the gate? Are we even sure humans can survive in their dimension? No, Rourke admitted. But the alternative is extinction. A cold silence filled the chamber. Reyes turned to Mira. You're leading the team. She blinked, startled. Sir, why me? You detected them first, he said. You read their movements, their patterns. And you fired the hyperrail shot. You understand them better than any of us. Mira swallowed hard. She didn't feel ready. She didn't feel brave. But she nodded anyway. Understood. Within minutes, she stood in the Valiant's armory with 4 selected soldiers. A Lieutenant Vega. A Corporal Lin. A Specialist Roan. A Engineer Eric Stone. All experienced. All silent. None pretending they weren't afraid. Eric tightened his gloves. Once we pass through, readings might fail. Sensors might break. Gravity might shift. Just stay close. Mira nodded. Our goal is simple. Find the core, shut it down. She didn't add the part everyone knew. If they failed, none of them were coming back. The shuttle launched from the Valiant and approached the rift gate. The swirling blue storm grew bigger, louder, hungrier. The closer they flew, the more the shuttle shook. Gravity wave rising. Roan shouted, "Hold steady." Mira called back. The rift twisted open wider as if welcoming them. "We're crossing," Vega yelled. And then, the shuttle plunged through the rift gate. Inside, everything changed. The stars vanished. Space turned dark purple, streaked with black lightning. There was no up or down, no distance, no sound. The place felt wrong, like a dimension that was never meant to exist. Shapes moved in the fog. Long, thin, metallic shapes. Vectors. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. But they didn't attack. They floated silently, lifeless, like frozen statues. "What is this place?" Lynn whispered. Eric scanned the air. His scanner sparked and died. "This entire dimension. It's unstable. Their bodies only move when connected to the core." Roan pointed ahead. "Look." In the far distance, for what distance meant here, stood a massive twisted tower. Black metal. Blue veins of energy. And a pulsing heart at the center. The vector core. Mira felt her legs shake. That's it. That's what powers them. As they approached, the floating vectors began to twitch. Eyes, if they were eyes, glowed faint blue. "They sense us," Vega said, raising her weapon. "No," Mira whispered. "They sense the threat to the core." The core tower awakened, sending out waves of energy. The frozen vectors flickered. One moved. Then another. Then every single one. Mira shouted, "Run!" They sprinted across the impossible ground as the vectors surged toward them, teleporting in sharp flashes. Each teleport blast shook the dimension, cracking the purple fog like broken glass. Roan fired. Lynn fired. Their shots hit, but did nothing. "They're phasing," Vega yelled. "They're not solid here." "The core," Mira screamed. "We must reach the core." They ran up a spiraling platform that led into the tower. Blue energy burned beneath every step. The air vibrated like a giant heartbeat. At the top they found it. A glowing sphere, pulsing with strange symbols, buried in a cage of black metal. Eric stared in awe. "It's not a power source. It's a control mind. A machine brain." Vega raised a charge pack. "We blow it." Mira touched the sphere. It pulsed beneath her hand. Cold, alive, angry. "No," she said softly. "We overload it. From the inside." Eric's eyes widened. Someone has to stay behind to hold the overload switch. Everyone froze. No one wanted to say it. No one wanted to choose. Mira breathed slowly. "We all knew this could happen." She stepped toward the core. Vega grabbed her arm. "Mira, no. You need to get out," Mira said quietly. "If any of you survive, the Valiant survives. Humanity survives." The vectors were closing in. Blue flashes surrounded the tower. "Time was gone," Eric whispered. "We'll make it count." Mira gave a small smile. "Now go." The team ran toward the exit as the vectors stormed the tower. Mira placed her hands on the overload panel. The core pulsed, almost like it understood. She whispered, "For Earth. For everyone," and activated the sequence. The tower began to shake. The core screamed. The dimension cracked. And the entire rift gate exploded with blinding light. The light from the rift gate explosion spread across the dark sky like a newborn star. Every ship near the Shockwave felt it. Every soldier paused. Every surviving officer looked at the screens with fear, hope, and disbelief. On the bridge of the Valiant, Captain Reyes stood frozen. "Report," he whispered. "Static." Then a weak signal broke through, the shuttle's emergency beacon. "They made it," Vega's voice coughed through. "We're coming home." The bridge erupted in relief and cheers, but Reyes saw something in Vega's voice. Something missing. He lowered his head. "Mira didn't make it, did she?" Silence. Then Vega spoke softly. She stayed. She overloaded the core herself. We tried to pull her out. But the vectors were everywhere. Reyes closed his eyes, fighting the weight on his chest. She saved all of us, Vega said. She saved everyone. The rift gate collapses. Outside, the rift gate began to fold in on itself. Blue cracks spread across its edges. The swirling storm slowed, then tightened into a single glowing point, like a firefly trapped between worlds. Then, it vanished. The sky was quiet again. But this time, it wasn't the silence of fear. It was the silence after a battle won. Across the galaxy, vector ships froze mid-flight. Their teleport flashes stopped. The buzzing energy in their metal bodies died. One by one, they collapsed like empty shells. On Council worlds, people stepped out of bunkers and stared in disbelief. The sky was clear. The danger was over. The enemy that once ruled nightmares was gone. Because of a human team. Because of Mira Dalton. A galaxy awakens. The council halls were damaged by the shockwave. Lights flickered. Panels hung loose. Leaders argued. Some blamed humans. Some begged for help. But for the first time, their voices were weak. Their power had faded. News spread fast. Humanity destroyed the vector core. Humanity ended the greatest threat in known history. Soon, ships of every species appeared outside Earth's orbit. Not to threaten, but to seek guidance. A small ceremony was held aboard the Valiant. Representatives from 20 worlds attended. Captain Reyes stood on the central platform, holding a small hollow disc. This, he said, pressing a button, is Myra's final message. The hologram flickered and hummed. Myra's final message. Mira Dalton appeared, calm, tired, but smiling gently. Behind her, the vector core pulsed, ready to collapse. If you're hearing this, she said, then the vectors are gone. Her voice was steady. I want you to remember something important. We were warned. We were pushed. And we were afraid. But fear didn't break us. The crowd listened in absolute silence. It doesn't matter who sits on a council seat. It doesn't matter which species is strongest. What matters is that we face the darkness together. We protect each other. She took a slow breath. I'm proud of all of you. I'm proud of what we chose to fight for. The hologram flickered, static crawling across the edges. And if I don't come back, don't mourn. Just build something better. Build a future where no warning is ignored again. The image froze for half a second. Goodbye. Then it faded. For several moments, no one spoke. Some cried. Some bowed their heads. Others simply stared at the ground, as if thinking about every mistake, every secret their governments had hidden. Reyes wiped his eyes and whispered, "Thank you, Mira." A new era begins. In the weeks that followed, something changed. Human ships traveled to Council worlds offering repairs, medicine, and supplies. Where the Council had once ruled with fear, humans led with compassion. A new treaty was written. The Stellar Alliance Pact. Not controlled by one species. Not built on lies. But shared equally by all. Earth was chosen as the capital. Not because humans demanded it, but because everyone trusted them now. Every ship that passed Earth orbit carried a small symbol. A single star, crossed by a rail line and surrounded by a teleport ripple. The symbol of Mira Dalton. The girl who read the warning. The officer who never backed down. The hero who saved countless worlds. The Victory Memorial. A massive memorial was built on the moon, looking down on Earth. At the center stood a tall statue of Mira, holding a railgun round in one hand and a teleport ripple hologram in the other. Below the statue were simple words carved in steel. She warned us. She fought for us. She saved us. Crowds from dozens of planets visited every day. All of them whispered the same thing. Humanity didn't just survive. Humanity defended us. The final moment. Late at night, Captain Reyes stood alone at the memorial. He placed his hand on the cold metal of Myra's statue. "You gave everything," he whispered. "Now it's our turn to make it worth it." Above him, the stars shimmered gently. Free, peaceful, safe. No more vectors. No more terror. Only a galaxy rebuilding, healing, and finally working together. And it all began with a strange railgun warning, and ended with one human sacrifice. The galaxy would never forget.